Walmart says, I've actually got some of yesterday's notes on it. Walmart says that they're just using it to process credit cards. Well, are you telling me that Discover and Visa and MasterCard won't give Walmart a good deal? I don't think that's the case. And if you read Walmart's application, they say this is going to be mainly used for credit card processing, and also we're going to sell CDs, certificates of deposit, to 501c3s and CD brokers. And that's just one sentence in a big, long application. But what that says to me is Walmart has bigger plans. If you accept the number that 130 million people go through a Walmart every week, let's say 1% of them buy a $2,000 Walmart CD, that's $2 billion right there in CDs that Walmart can then, if they're a bank, borrow against and use to float on. So I think Walmart has larger intentions for banking than they're really letting on. SunTrust has branches in about 100 right now, and I think what Walmart is doing is sort of learning the business from their financial partners right now, including SunTrust. And I'll give you an example of that. About 14 years ago, Walmart really wasn't a player in the grocery business. They weren't a player, but they realized they had to go into it. Okay, take that fact. Well, now they're the largest grocer in the United States. But what's interesting is in the interim, they bought a company called McLean Distribution, and you've probably seen their trucks on the road. It says McLean Distribution, and then Walmart subsequently, 4 years ago, sold McLean to Warren Buffett, which begs the question, Warren Buffett only pretty much buys good businesses. Why would Walmart sell a good business to Warren Buffett? Doesn't make no good kind of sense, as my mom would say. And what's interesting about McLean Distribution is they were the distributor, or essentially the rack jobber, to two companies, 7-Eleven and Kroger. So pretty much what Walmart did was they learned the business from McLean Distribution. They learned the grocery business. They learned Kroger's business. And then they went in and they ate Kroger's lunch. It's very clever the way they did that, and I think what's happening now in the financial services area is their history is repeating itself. They're sort of learning that. Because what do you need in the financial services area? You need IT, distribution, and capital. Well, what does Walmart have? Walmart has all three of those. I think these ILCs are going to be, industrial loan companies are going to be a pretty big problem that we need to keep a handle on. If you look at ILCs in Utah right now, they have 12 times the assets. Industrial loan companies have 12 times the assets, which Walmart wants to be, by the way, and that's how they're easing their way into the banking business. They have 12 times the assets right now of all the savings and loans banks and credit unions combined in the state of Utah. And I think what this industrial loan company thing is going to wind up being is a giant hedge fund type fiasco. And so I personally believe there should be a wall between banking and commerce. And if Walmart owned a bank, by the way, who do you think their vendors are going to bank with? Then they mom and pop the local banks. So that's another recent controversy which Walmart is stepped into. Basically, the onus behind Walmart's sort of panicky moves and bad press lately is they're desperately trying to get their margins up. Their margins are 3.8%, as I said. Let's compare the revenues of $300 billion, $350 billion. That sounds like a lot, but 3.5% on that is about $11 billion, which is what ExxonMobil made in the last quarter. And I think what Walmart is trying to do is to get their margins up, and they've got nowhere else to grow. I think they've squeezed all they can out of the supply chain and supply chain efficiencies. Their stock is down. It's hard for them to grow new stores, as evidenced by this recent struggle to get a store in Chicago. I think they've realized they've had to grow from rural into urban, and I really sound like a Walmart hater, don't I? I really am a Walmart advocate, but some things just make me crazy about them. But they've realized that there are very few places they can grow physically, except for China. They just bought a chain of stores in China. But here, it's getting harder and harder for them to open stores. And if you Google Walmart, every day you'll get 10 stories about how some store somewhere is being protested, and it just wastes a lot of effort and resources to do that. I think they're looking for new places to grow. I think financial services is going to be one of them, and that's where they totally don't have to mess with inventory control. The thing I used to love about the brokerage business is you already had the money that you were going to get paid, and you got paid in 3 days. I think Walmart sees a real opportunity in financial services. But their stock is down, and they've had to deal lately with the difficulty in opening the stores, health care costs, and wage costs, and I think it's got them a little off their game. There's a battle at the top that I've referred to earlier between Eduardo Castro Wright, who the employees affectionately refer to as Castro, who is running the stores now. He used to be head of Walmex, and he's running the stores now. And there are a lot of people that'll tell you, is this being filmed? Because they're not going to like this. There are a lot of people that tell you that Eduardo has been running the store since May, when Lee took his month retirement off. And I think Eduardo is trying to make his bones and get the stock price back up, down from